right, Elizabeth, Chris, welcome to Oasis Song Stories. Chris, this is your first time on Oasis Song Stories, so welcome.
Thank you for having me on, Josh.
You're welcome. So we're here today to talk about a song you wrote called Wonderful. It's a cool song. For me, when I listen to it, it reminds me of something that you might hear out of the Vineyard Church.
There's probably a reason for that.
There's a reason. Okay, tell us about that.
Oh, okay. Well, at the time in my life when I wrote the song, I should say that I'm not a songwriter by any means. This was the first. Actually, it was the second song that I had written, but the first one, I'm not even certain where it might be. We may have the lyrics somewhere around here, and I couldn't remember even what it's called. But this song was written when before my daughter Kaylee was born, and when Brock was still a very young toddler, and we were living in Wauseon, just west of Toledo. We had just moved from St. Louis, and during that time in my life, I was very influenced by Vineyard worship, by Vineyard worship songs, and in fact, probably a lot of people were at that time. The worship movement and worship music has just exploded in the last couple decades, and I think a lot of the songs that people were really latching onto back in the time when the church was moving from hymns to choruses. They may not even realize, but those choruses were written by those that came out of the Vineyard movement. You know, John Wimber started that movement with several guys in Southern California, and I had actually attended a session, a worship together conference where I heard Brian Dirksen and some other Vineyard writers talk about their goal was to write songs that were so simple that anyone can play them, even people who were just picking up a guitar for the first time, which that was me. And so many of the Vineyard songs, worship songs, have 3 chords. A couple of them have 2. We sang one a couple of weeks ago in our church service that has pretty much 2 chords all the way through. More love, more power. And unless someone adds some more creativity to that, that's really all it is. So myself being a very young guitarist, very, very new to picking up the guitar, I knew about 3 or 4 chords, and that's what this song has in it. Right. So that's why it feels that way.
Right,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's really funny.
Yeah.
So what's the story behind the song? I mean, the content of the song is really good. It's really ascribing to God good characteristics about Him. And so what was the thing that caused you to write that song? What was the story behind it?
It really is a cool story. Brock, who now it's really neat because Brock is playing in our worship band here every Sunday, and it's just a really amazing thing for me to see that every week. And this particular song was written while I was sitting at the foot of his on the floor at the foot of his crib. Brock has always been one that doesn't sleep well. Maybe he sleeps well now, but I should say it this way. It took him a long time to get to sleep. Once he fell asleep, he was out like a light, but we could never get him to go to sleep. And we always had people at our house, and we had small groups with college students that would go into the late hours of the night, and he always felt like he was missing something if he went to bed, and so it was difficult. So I would take my guitar up, and the few things that I knew how to play, I would just strum through them and play them and try to get him to go to sleep as I was just quietly playing. And after I ran through the 4 or 5 songs that I actually knew how to play, I would just sit and play chords. And so I had a capo on, and I was playing just a G and a C back and forth, and I just started singing, "We are gathered in this place," and then I thought, what would come after that might rhyme? Lord, we long to see your face, things like that. And before I knew it, I was just singing through a little simple verse, a little simple tagline before a pre-chorus, and then the chorus came, and it kind of all follows a progression. When you get to the chorus, we lift up our hands. Well, what might we be lifting up our hands for? We long to touch you. We lift up our voice. What might we be lifting up our voice for? To say something, to say that we love you. And we lift up our hearts to just express with everything that we have how wonderful you are. And, that first little line in the chorus was always really special to me, because when I would come home from work, and I mentioned that this was, Brock was about 1-2 years old, and one of the first things that I would see is this little toddler coming to the door, for me to pick him up. And for me, if anyone ever sees me, I don't express a whole lot of emotion in worship, but sometimes I do feel like lifting my hands. And I think for me, the expression that provides is is what I saw in that little boy wanting his father to just pick him up, And sometimes when you're singing, you just need God to pick you up, and that's what I feel and what I think about when I lift my hands, and so that's a pretty important line in this song. So
yeah, that's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, we're excited to hear it.
We are gathered in this place, Lord, we long to see your face. You deserve our highest praise. We will sing them all our days. How wonderful you are, and how beautiful you are, and how merciful you are to me. As we lift up our hands, we long to touch you. We lift up our voice to say that we love you. We lift up our eyes, we long to see you. We lift up our hearts to say how wonderful you are. We are gathered in this place, Lord, we long to see your face. You deserve our highest praise. We will sing them all our days. How wonderful